Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to BS Talk, episode 154. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Got a couple of allergies, so y'all might hear me sneeze or jump off of here real quick in the middle of a conversation. So y'all get that boogeriness, but I'm doing good. How are you doing?
It's been 150, 154. I almost said the episode, 154 degrees. No, it's been like hot here. It's been like 111, 110 the last couple of days in Northern California. And it's like, I'm tired of this. It wasn't this hot last year. And it's like, it's too hot to do anything. Tired of it. So hopefully it gets back down. But otherwise, I've been doing well. A little tired, body's breaking down, a little bit older. Things that used to, you do the day before, the next day you'd be fine. Now it's like, ooh, that I'm a little sore. You know?
Yeah, baby, that's that age kicking in. That's that age.
Yeah, just tired. But that's all right. Well, I'll get through it. So we took last week off. We're back now. Irv, you've had like 2 weeks off, 3 weeks. Irv taking the whole damn month off.
Right.
Irv over here, we still do a podcast? No, Irv hit me up first, so he knows we got a podcast. He's still up to date. He's ready to get back into it after this break. So
Look, man, sometimes you just gotta take a quick break. You gotta just chill. Sports is gonna be sports. They're gonna do what they want to do. They're gonna get their money. We can talk about that anytime. Sometimes you gotta take care of yourself.
I think it's the best time to take a break during this because it's a downtime of the year. NBA's done, NFL's
What do
done.
you hold on. I think that's ridiculous, Cam, because you got Ben Simmons videos dropping like mixtapes,
Yeah, we
him
know how
dropping
those turn
threes.
out.
I'm watching a video right now of CD Lamb doing all this drill work, and I'm like, that's dope. He getting in shape, he getting ready for camp. That's dope. What does
You,
that have to why are we putting up training videos? What is training videos really doing? Like,
you know
I'm
what
glad to
videos I've
see
been
y'all
seeing?
working out because y'all get paid millions of dollars to play this sport and to work out and stay in great condition. I'm glad you're doing what you're supposed to do.
You know what I've been seeing on Instagram and
What?
every video I've been watching on YouTube is players, shooting the ball like Ben Simmons, like you're talking about. And guess what gym they're always at?
Oh, the one in New York, that
That's
spring, whatever it's called.
Summit Gym. That
There's
Summit
Summit.
Gym where all of a sudden everybody makes their shots there. Everybody. Oh, you're guarding them up in the face. Don't matter. That shot just goes in. Oh, there's everybody makes shots at that gym. So, like I told you, the last 3 years, if I see any videos that say Summit Gym, I'd go, no, this ain't believable. This ain't real. Let's go on. This ain't no. We'll see what happens during the season. Even
I,
Brawny has a video of him there too.
nah, leave
And I go,
Bronny
oh,
alone. Let
look,
him
look
train.
at look
Let
at
him
look at that.
train.
Look at the second coming of the king out there. Look at him making all these shots. Nope, it happened at Summit Gym. It's not real. Mythical land. It doesn't exist. But no, I want to get us caught up on the Twitter poll though. We haven't done Twitter polls from last time. Should Brandon Ayuk? Oh, our Twitter polls can be found at BS underscore Irvin Can. Again, that is BS underscore Irvin Can. Should Brandon Ayuk and T. Higgins request a trade from their respective teams now? That came back with 62.5% said ask for trades. 37 said play it out. I still say like both teams are Super Bowl contender teams. And I think they get more money based on how they perform this year. Now, like you said, NFL though is one of those you get injured, it's all down the drain after that.
Yep. Yep. That's
So
the only reason I say ask for a trade, get your bread now, because this is part of a topic we're gonna get into. What them GMs be talking about behind them closed doors. How GMs really feel.
yeah,
They butter in your biscuit, but in the back, they going golfing or doing something.
I'll
They
tell
on
you
that
right.
joke that
Tell them right to
go
their
ahead.
face. I'll tell people right to their face what I think.
You probably be the worst GM ever because your honesty is gonna get the whole team messed up. Nobody getting paid. Everybody and those that do get paid, you like, look here. We put a couple options in here. I need you to contractually read over this because this first option is if you suck and you're sucking and you're the main suck problem in regards to just being terrible on this team, you're gone. I don't need to ask you anything. I don't need to ask you for permission to trade you somewhere. You just look up that pink slip is there, or I'm in your locker packing your bag. You're gone. That's the first clause here. That's how
Something
you would
like
be
that.
as a GM.
We'll go back to this Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins. I still think Brandon Ayuk stays with the 49ers. I do believe that if the 49ers are going to move off of somebody, it's going to be Debo. I've been saying that for I think about I don't know how many months now have you heard it from day one, like from day one
I've
I've been
agreed
saying
with
that.
you.
Yeah.
I've agreed with you, but it's just that contract, man. We talk about this all the time. That contract for Debo and
Yep.
injuries.
Yep. So they might take a hit in the cap even if they have to release him. T. Higgins, I don't think he's gonna stay. I do think he'll end up being traded. Uh I don't know, like that's gonna be a tough one. Maybe he plays out his contract. I see it's one of
I don't
those
see
you
either.
don't think he's
I don't see either one of them liking that idea. See, I think the organization has them in a vice grip right now. Like, hey, you got to play for us. Period. And T. Higgins, we already talked about this in the previous show. He signed that franchise tag. He did. So if anything were to happen, he would get traded. But as of this moment, he is part of the Bengals organization. He's got to report to camp. He's got to, he wants that dollar, some high dollars for this year, and only this year. But the problem is, if you know your contract is not up to your standards or not something where you feel secure, that's going to affect your play. Like at some point, Brandon Ayuk's got to report to camp. We know this, Cam. He's got to report. He's got to be in shape. He's got to be ready to play. He's going to be with the first team. They're not going to demote him like that unless he just has complete meltdown, dropping passes or moving them, not running routes hard. It's one of those where, let's say he shows up, Brandon Ayuk or T. Higgins, they show up, they give you 75% of what they got. You seeing competitiveness, but they're not being as competitive. There's extra yards they could earn, but they're like, not going to tweak a hamstring doing this, going out of bounds. You know what I mean, Cam? It's
yeah.
stuff like that you're going to be like, if we pay him, we get the extra. If we don't pay him, he's only 75% or maybe 60% here.
I was thinking like I really think Brandon Ayuk's gonna stay. I like and then they had that rookie they drafted,
Ricky Pearl or Perlier
yeah.
or something like that from
They
Florida. I feel
yeah.
like he plays more like Debo, less like he plays more like Debo Samuel's, like a guy you can do in the reverse game, a guy who makes tough catches and gets tough yardage. Maybe not as fast as Debo, maybe,
Or
or just
dynamic.
agile, yeah, or dynamic, but he gives you the Debo feel and effect still in some form or fashion. Um, it's hard for me to. I don't know what Brandon Ayuk is doing. I mean, he's criticized the team publicly. He's said he wanted to stay with the team publicly. Like he's gone back and forth publicly and not just in house to where do you think he's ostracized the organization enough to say like, okay, we're done with your antics. We
Nah,
get it. You wanted your money.
not
You think
yet.
his talent level is like, oh no, Brandon's too talented. We don't care. We'll get over it. We'll
Yeah,
money will mend this and winning will mend this.
there was some stat that came down from Pro Reference where he was just number one, a bunch of number ones in, and he doesn't get that recognition just because of how that offense is run. Um,
Literally, they're a running
so
team.
yeah, so it's one of those where I think if he went even to another team, you would see him stand out even more just based on how that offense is run and the options they go to. But I just to give him up for basically like to get it a trade, it's hard to replace that.
He's a
Um,
first round draft pick.
White,
So you got
yeah,
to get a first to get a. You got to give up a first to get him. I would say I need a first or two first, a first and a strong second that could become a first. What is it called? Where it's like if he plays so many plays, has so many yards, it transforms from a second rounder to a first rounder. Or if we make the playoffs and he plays, you know what I mean? They did it for Carson Wentz a bunch. Unfortunately for Carson, they put everything on health for him. But they do it with players all the time where a conditional, there you go, a conditional second round can become a first rounder.
yeah. So it's one of those where I think we saw a lot of last year where Debo was just out because of injury, and they did just fine without him.
Yep.
So maybe it's time to move off of Debo, move on. But like you said, that contract. So that we're just saying the same stuff over and over, but it's not going to be more redundant than that.
Correct.
So
Correct. Go ahead.
we'll move on to the next topic. But again, you can find our Twitter polls at BS_Irvin Cam. Same with our IG. You can go check us out at BS_Irvin Cam. Hopefully get some videos up there soon. We've been slacking on that end. Um, we'll switch over to the MLB. MLB standings, and we'll just get you updates really quick. I've been watching because I've been gambling, but I've been watching the MLB. I made a prediction because I'm going to Reno in a couple days for a conference. Yeah, I'm going to your old stomping grounds a little bit there, Irv.
Yeah, the
Um,
old stomping grounds.
and when I was there, I was gonna put a bet on like who's gonna win basically the World Series, the next year's NBA championship, and then Super Bowl. And my MLB team I picked, I was like talking to my buddy. I was like, "Hey, do you want in on this?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "What team are you thinking?" He goes, "I trust whatever you say, Cam." And I go, "Well, I'm feeling the New York Yankees." Now, let me tell you something. The minute I said that, the Yankees started just losing every single game, man. It's like they don't even want to win. Their players are lacking out there. They're not trying as hard. They're like nonchalantly trying to do ground balls and it's rolling off their arms and making an error, and the players going to second. Pitchers are getting mad at their fielding just because how it's going. It's trouble in paradise right now in New York. And I think John Carlos Stanton's been out as well. Um they have one of the best pitching staffs too, and it just something's going on there. Anthony Rizzo, a leader of the clubhouse, he's been out. John Carlos Stanton, like I mentioned, something's going on there where it hasn't been right. In the last 10 games, they've only got 2 out of 8. They've only won 2 out of the 8. And it's not looking good. So I might have to switch it up a little bit. And, baseball, like hockey's momentum, but my goodness, it looks like they're falling apart and taking it. Like the players don't even care if they win or lose. Um, it's hard to it's kind of trying to relate it to something in like NFL or NBA, but I can't. I'm not thinking right now, I guess. Um, but Baltimore's taking advantage of it. They've been moving up this last 7-3 the last 10. They're doing well. Boston's also taking advantage of it. They're moving up the standings as well. They were pretty far behind. They're catching on up. They're 7 games back of first place, but they're 7-3 in the last 10. The team that I've been most disappointed in because they were supposed to be pretty good again on paper. You know how that goes. Blue Jays, big disappointment. Just falling, like losing games they shouldn't be losing, and just what a disappointing year. Trade deadline's right around the corner, especially since All-Star break. Do they trade Vlad Guerrero Jr.? Um, like these are some players they might have to think about trading right away, or not right away, but in the near future. They have some big names on the team that they can probably part ways with. That can help other teams and hopefully get draft picks for, or something back in return, just because it's been a very disappointing year for the Blue Jays, especially when they had such high expectations. Uh, Cleveland Indian, or sorry, my bad. That's a bad habit of mine. Cleveland Guardians are leading that Central Division, cleaning up house. Minnesota's right behind them by 6 games back, and then Royals 8 games back. Out of the West, we have Seattle Mariners. This one gets really interesting, Irv. Seattle is last in batting average.
Hmm.
They're last place in batting average and in OBS, on base percentage for everybody. On base percentage, they're fifth from last place in the whole league. And I'm like, how is this team in first place? Well, their pitching's good. Their pitching's keeping them in this. Uh, it makes no sense that their run differential for the season is only +6 and they're in first. But here they are. They're 2 games
How
up.
long till that how long till that catches up with him though, typically
Oh,
in baseball?
if they don't start hitting the ball soon and getting deep runs in, it's not gonna last. Because right behind them is who got off to a very sluggish start is the Houston Astros,
Mhm.
and they're coming on up now. They have a run differential of 44, so not only are they pitching well, they're starting to hit the ball well again. Uh, I don't see the Mariners holding on to this first place lead for the next. I'd say in 2 weeks they'll be out of it
Oh,
at minimum.
two
Like,
weeks?
yeah, because Houston's only 2 games behind. They're not looking good. The Mariners, while they pitch good, they don't hit well. They lead the league in strikeouts, I believe. Their whole team. They just know how to get struck out pretty well. Yeah, they have on the season, they have 925 strikeouts on their team. So leading the league in strikeouts, but their fielding and pitching is pretty well, the fielding's mediocre, but their pitching is ERA is fifth in the league. So that's what's keeping them alive is, their pitching. But if they don't start hitting soon, Houston's going to catch them because Houston's pitching is right mediocre, right in the middle of all the teams, 18th. But um, their batting has gotten better. They got off to a slow start, but the last couple of months they have improved significantly to the point where they're starting to hit the ball again, like the old Houston. And to prove it to you, they're first in the league now. They're their average for average, that is. Their average is first in the league, and their on base percentage is fifth in the league. So you just have to have mediocre pitching and then have, being right in the middle, but good hitting. Uh, so I see Houston taking over. Texas Rangers are right there too. They just got Max Scherzer back. They're 8 games under 500, but they're only 8 games out of first place in the West. So watch out. I know they're 3-7, but they could have a pick. They're the reigning champions. They could have a little pick me up the second half of the season. NL, move over there. Braves, they're holding on. They're still in it, but Phillies look like they're going to take that National League East. Phillies are so dominant in the league, in pit batting in the league. They're top on OBS. They're top 3. In average batting, they are top 3. In pitching, they're first in ERA. Phillies look solid, and Bryce Harper is out. He just got injured. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out for, but that's a player that's gone down. But they keep on winning. They're just like, well, next person up.
How does that look for him though? Because like his previous team, he leaves, they win a World Series, the Washington Nationals, and then he goes to Philly. Now Philly is in the same spot where he's hurt. Usually, you would think a little dip off, bats, home runs, bases, all that statistics to go to, but they're just winning still. So, you know what I mean, Cam? Is that big old check that he earning really? Is that
Oh no,
really the catalyst to get us over the hump for a championship? Because might want to get that money off these books. Might,
I mean, eventually you probably will, but right now, no, because he's like he's really good. He's hitting
no, I'm
300
not
in the
saying he's
year.
not. I'm not saying he's not good.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
is
sometimes
he worth the price?
when you
Yes.
pay you pay somebody and you look at your team, you go, why are we winning as much as we're winning? And this dude is out. We should be maybe trying to stay above 500, maybe stay a game above 500, 2 games. But we don't, you know what I mean, Kim? You look at a team, you like, they don't look like they out of sync. They don't look bad. They look good.
Uh, their pitching is first in the league. The pitching's holding them in it as well. But also like they're taking their DH, one of their DHs, Alex Bowman. Uh, he was playing DH because also Kyle Schwarzer was out, who's another person that was injured, and they're putting him at first base. But I'm telling you, with Bryce in there, this lineup is solid from start to finish with their pitching and their hitting. They have basically 3 aces, and then they have Walker, who has been out all the season, who could be a fourth pitcher in there. This they're basically maybe a Cy Young award winner this year or candidate. I know that he's 10-2. He's their third. He's their third starting pitcher is Ranger Suarez, and he's just been dominant. 10-2, 2.27 ERA, and when that's your third best pitcher on your team according to your like depth chart, then you got a solid team there. So
You kind of prove the point a little bit, though, because if everyone else is stamping up and you still have a solid team, is he the catalyst to get you a championship? We're not talking, he's not in the category, is what I'm saying, of he's a really good player. We need him. He's in the upper tier system, pay wise, and expected to win championships as a player. Typically, when you're in that and your team is doing well, and we've seen this already happen with his previous team, he didn't leave that team, they became bums. He left that team, they won a championship. Is he that type of player is my question to you, or how you feel about him as a player. Is he that type of player? Because right now, just from his career, I think he's a great player. I think he's one of the best, but also he's starting to feel like one of those players that is not a franchise changing player that gets you over the hump for a championship. He just is there like, here's a big name. You know what I mean, Cam? Like, here's a big name. He's getting recognition. Our team can always contend for a championship, but even if he's not here, we're really contending. He's not a push over the hump.
I
He's
don't
not the
think I don't think any
Jackson.
player I don't think there's any player that is just put me over the hump kind of player in baseball. Because uh unlike basketball and football, your best player isn't going to have the ball in their hand the whole time unless they're pitcher. And their pitcher's
Right.
once every 3 games in the playoff. So therefore, I think you're looking for to get your best players the best opportunity to win. And he is one of them. Yes. Do I think he's the players? I don't think I could say there's a specific player to get you over the hump, because when you say that, it can be a mediocre player that gets them over the hump at the trade deadline that they pick up.
Okay.
You know, there could be some pitcher that's just average at the trade deadline. Like I hope there's a pitcher for the Angels. I forget his name, but I'm hoping they trade him at the trade deadline. They get assets back, of course, because Angels season's pretty much done. Let's get some assets back. Let's look for next year. Let's build for future years. So they trade him, and why he's probably, is he a superstar? No. Is he a star? He's can be a star, but those mediocre star players can be the players that get you over the hump to make you get a championship.
Is he
So
a star player or a good role player? Like just a good player, good
he's
solid player,
he's
period.
good. He's a good solid player.
Okay.
But but superstars in baseball is completely super different from superstars and star players in basketball. In basketball, they have, remember, in baseball, you get maybe 3 to 4 at bats,
yeah, correct.
right?
And then there's only so many
Make an
pitches. Yeah,
impact.
we got that. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's only in a pitcher, you have more control of what it because it's in your hands. But in basketball, every possession, like think about it, when LeBron brings the ball up, he's getting the touch every possession he's on that court, down the like pretty much every time. I would say 95% of the time, LeBron is touching the ball at least once, whether it be he's dribble driving and dishing it out, but there's that part of the game where they can control it. Like Superstar has more control of what happens in basketball than it does in baseball. A superstar
Yeah, I
has more
get it.
control of it in football, especially when you're quarterback, than they do in baseball. Um,
Yeah, I get it.
Hockey,
Pace of the game, things of that
yeah,
nature. No, no. So I'm glad you're giving us that detailed information because it sounds like you said, you feel like there's no player that is just like in baseball, like, hey, this guy right here is the one. If you get him on your team, you're automatically one of those guys or one of those teams looking to go into contending for a championship this year. Um, that it's funny that we're having this conversation because even with all those other things you talked about, like the guy bringing this up, the guys bring like basketball, LeBron bringing it up, or football, quarterback controlling the cadence, controlling the line, controlling, with his eyes, safeties, different things like that. If that's the case in baseball, why are I get you got better players than others. I completely get that. But why are teams like the Yankees overpaying? Why? Like it just brings more questions to me. This starts to bring more questions because I'm like, if Bryce Harper, who's one of those guys, young dude, face of the franchise, face of one of the faces of the league, you could even say, um, he's not really he's a superstar by the standards of baseball, but he's not pushing you over. Then you start looking at some of these other big batters and stuff like that. And you're like, why are these dudes getting paid this astronomical money if no one is in that tier system? Like, you know what I mean, Cam? Nobody's like, you look at
yeah.
baseball, you look at basketball, you look at football, you look at all these dudes that are supposed to get you over the hump, guys that as soon as they're dropped into a system or dropped into a team, bam, automatic difference. You look at baseball and you're just like, you paying this dude almost damn near $300 million, 387, half a billion, whatever. And this dude ain't even supposed to get you to the series, bruh. He ain't even supposed to get you to the World Series. That's
Because
ludicrous in my mind.
those teams, there's a better chance of those players when they join the team. There's a better chance statistically when they have them on their team based on their performance. They're supposed to get you there. Doesn't mean it happens because baseball is one of those sports where, sometimes you have a rookie that's just having an awesome year. If you watch the Tampa Bay Rays, not this year, they're sucking this year, but the last couple of
Oh,
years, Tampa Bay Rays have always found players where they're like, no, we're not paying you millions of dollars. We're going to let you go. You go walk and sign with the Yankees, whatever else. We'll replace you with a player that's just as efficient, if not more efficient. This year, not so much. But you have to look at so you have big market teams that will pay for those big players. And then you have the small market teams that are like, okay, we have to look, how do we decide who we're paying, who we're not paying? And the reason baseball is different as well from basketball and NFL or NBA and NFL is because there's no salary cap in baseball. There is a luxury tax, but if you like the Yankees can just pay that away. So there's no salary tax. So these small market teams, they know that okay, we're gonna get outbid by the Yankees, by the Red Sox, by Philadelphia, by Atlanta. There's the Dodgers. They're gonna be able to pay as much as they want for these players. What they also do is small market teams, they know that they're gonna get paid like these big teams are gonna pay for more for them. So what they'll do, they'll just start a bidding war a little bit. Do they actually want that player? To go back, David Sampson of the Miami Marlins one time, I think it was it Albert Pujols or somebody else? I forget. Um, they didn't want this player at all. They weren't gonna sign him, but what they did was the Yankees wanted him. Or it was another team in their division. I forget what team in their division. Maybe it was
Somebody wanted him. Somebody
the
wanted
Mets.
him.
The Mets wanted him. The Mets wanted him. So what they did was they were like, "Hey, we want Irv Stevens." Like, okay, well, it looks like the Mets want him too. How much are you willing to like? The Mets are willing to pay us 30 million for Irv Stevens. Oh, okay. We're the Marlins. Okay, well, we're a small market, but we can do 32 million a year. Do they actually want Irv Stevens? No, but what they were trying to do is have the agent talk to the Mets again and go, oh, 32? Okay, they want the Mets to spend more money. The reason we want them to spend more money is because Marlins are looking at other players that Mets might try to get. And if they spend all that money on one player, then they can't afford another player.
It makes sense.
And they go, so
It
they'll be like,
happens.
we'll give them 32. So I want 32 for Irv. And then they'll come back to your agent. Will talk to the Mets and be like, Mets said they'll give 36. Where are you giving the Marlins? Marlins might be we'll do 37. Mets go back and they're like, okay, they said they'll do 40. Well, what about you, Marlins? So do you do 40? Ah, no, we're good. We'll have to let them sign. So all of a sudden, you got a $10 million increase. Your agent's happy because he gets 10% of whatever you're making. So he got an
Correct.
increase. Mets get screwed. Marlins are happy because Marlins are over there like, we just made them spend a bunch of money. That reliever they wanted, they can't afford him anymore because they spent a bunch of money. Yes, they're a large market, but they can't spend more money. They hit their cap. Their owner's not wanting to spend more. So now I get the closing pitcher who technically, I guess, gets screwed in a way because now he, instead of that 10 million he was going to get for the Mets, he gets 8 or 7 from me because mismanagement, poor management of money by the Mets. So
It was
there's that
fun.
factor. And
This is
yeah,
you
and just
basically you
remember,
basically just right.
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but just
No,
remember,
go ahead. Go ahead.
just because remember the Angels the last couple of years as an Angel fan, best 2 players in baseball every year, best 2 players in baseball, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Not this year, but the last couple of
When
years when
healthy,
they're all
when
together.
healthy, when
Yes,
healthy.
best 2 players in baseball. Guess what happened? We didn't make playoffs. We couldn't do anything. Why? Because it's a team sport. Just because you have 2 players on your team that are really good doesn't mean you're going to make it happen. We paid for Anthony Rodon. He hasn't even played at all this year, I don't think. And he's been out, and we're paying him like 30 to 40 million years, and he's toxic in the locker room. He even said, like, we talked about this earlier in the show, like, he said that one thing where it's like, baseball comes, it's just a game. And it's kind of like, I get it's just a game, but you can't be saying that to the media, like when you're paying 40 million a year. And so we overpaid for him. Guess what? That's coming out of that budget that the owner's like, hey, who's been phenomenal spending money, but just spending money wrongly. So just because you have the best players doesn't mean you have the best team. It's getting a
Funny. It
best
sounds
player
like
that's fitting for that team.
baseball sounds like the ultimate numbers game in regards to like
Absolutely.
everyone understands statistics and why you put a team together. You put it on statistical value of statistical value of shooters. He shoots 38%. He's a career 38% guy. Let's get him. Football, this guy has always been 1,000-yard receiver, even if it's like 1,001. He's a consistent 1,000-yard receiver. Let's get him, depending on age and all that other stuff. Obviously, the factor. Baseball just sound like the ultimate numbers. Like, I need you to bat 300. I only got 2 other batters at 250. You got to be the catalyst for 300 to get us over that batting hump that we talked about. That is the funniest shit I've ever like. Imagine you don't even really like look at these players or know these players. You're basically that movie with Brad Pitt and the whole Moneyball, whatever
Moneyball.
it was called.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're sitting there, you're going, just get him because he has these.
Why do you
Yeah,
want him? The key of that movie was why do you want this player? Because what they did They lost Johnny Damon. They lost Giambi, and I think Mulder.
Yep.
And maybe Zito. 4 players that were all on low pay at the time because they were on their contracts that were before they got big, and A's could afford them. So they all walked. And you get draft picks in return. So if a player walks in free agency, whatever team they sign with, you get their draft picks. That's how it works in baseball. So if my team, the A's, they lost Jason Giambi to the Yankees, I would get Yankees first round pick. But it's like, ooh, who cares? Like getting a lifetime player is hard to get. So what Billy Beane did was he brought a guy over from, I believe, the Cleveland, at the time Indians, now Guardians, who was played by Jonah Hill, and it was a mathematician for Harvard, basically breaking down analytically, not average. Everybody always watch average, but on base percentage. Do they get on base? And that's where it
Yep.
came from, was how do we replace these players with other ones by not average, but do they get on base? Not home runs, not this. Do they get on base? And that's all that matters was, do they get on base? How often do they get on base? That's awesome. So for instance, I'm looking for a player. If they get on base about 350 up, that means they're good, in my opinion. If they get on base at a 500, that means once every 2 at bat, they get on base, which is phenomenal. That's where the on base percentage came in. That's what teams started looking at. And it's the ultimate analytical one because, again, you're looking for a pitcher to throw a fastball at near 100 miles per hour and be accurate and hit the corners every single time. And you know what the chances of that happening? It's like a basketball player shooting the 3-point shot over and over and over and over again. And you're looking for a basketball player that keeps on making it consistently. That's why Steph Curry is separate from most 3-point shooters because of how accurate he is and how often he does it. And that's why he does. And so analytically, it's so much more important in baseball than it is for other sports. That's why analytics, in my opinion, in basketball and NFL, yeah, you might say, oh, this player doesn't shoot that well. Oh, let's just say they went 2 for 8. But yeah, they got 14 boards. They set up screens. The defense was there.
Yeah.
In baseball, it's completely different where it's like, yeah, defense matters, but it doesn't matter. Like, you could hide a defender. You could put him as a DH hitter, a designated hitter, instead of putting him out in the field, because if they suck at fielding, therefore their defense doesn't matter as much as long as they're hitting well. You know what I mean?
Right.
In basketball,
Oh, yeah.
you can't do that. You can't hide a player on the court.
Yeah, you do. You hide them in the corners. They hide them in the corners.
Yeah, you hide them in the corners for 3, but when it comes down to defense, what happens? That
No.
pick and roll comes out, right? And because they want
Stay in the corner.
they want that defensive liability, and then Duncan Robinson
Run the zone and stay in the corner.
Duncan Robinson's gotten better at it at defense. But remember during the finals, Lakers versus Heat, what did we want? We wanted that LeBron Duncan Robinson matchup. So they'd pick and roll.
You just wanted Duncan Robinson, period. It
it.
didn't matter. It didn't matter who.
But that was a liability. And in baseball, you can avoid it.
Yeah.
In basketball, you can't. So it's pretty interesting how all sports are different. This
is just a statistical sport. Like it is truly more statistics than anything. It really is in baseball. This is a great conversation just to let people know, like, hey, football, basketball, you need some statistics, yeah, but it's not always. Baseball is all statistics. You got to get your numbers right.
But a good thing about baseball is Bryce Harper goes down. Best player on their team probably goes down, right?
Yep. Hey.
They're still rolling. Why in football and basketball, what happens when your best player goes down?
Depending on the position, right?
If your quarterback goes down in football, what happens?
Oh, it might be some problems. That running back better be top notch.
Who's our running back? How good's our coaching? How
is it Saquon? Is it Saquon?
So your chances of winning those players go down, especially in basketball and football. While in baseball, you're like, okay, it's going to hurt us a little bit statistically, but this guy that's also batting 300, this person can move on up. Okay, we might lose a couple games. It's called WAR, wins over. Oh my goodness, I forget exactly what it's called. But so much statistics go into baseball. It also has ruined baseball in a way, in my opinion, with the whole shift, which you're not allowed to do anymore.
I was going to say wins over runs.
I wins over something. I forget what it's called. I had to.
It ain't royalties.
No. But anyhow, the last one I wanted to finish with was Dodgers. Dodgers are in first place by 6.5 games. Dodgers this year, in my opinion, I've been watching a little bit, have been very inconsistent. You would think there are some games they just lose, and you're like, oh, they shouldn't have lost that game, but they'll probably get going towards playoffs. And it looks like I don't trust the Yankees, so I got to look for a new World Series winner.
I actually had a question. This dude, or a guy asked me a question in my Dodger shirt on yesterday. My mom sent me and the kids some Dodger stuff. So, just for Los Angeles, nothing like we're real fans or anything like that. But I have been following the Dodgers a little bit, and the guy was like, "Hey, think the Dodgers will pull it off this year?" I said, "Probably not." And he looked at me, and I was like, "Probably not. Like you shouldn't lose some of these games they lose. You should definitely win more of those." Should be not a Jekyll and Hyde kind of feel to you, even though you're looking good, you're playing well in some cases, or you're in a better spot in your division. The guy kind of looked at me and I was like, "Yeah, so I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna win it like that." And I just walked away, and he was kind of like, "Oh, okay, have a good day." I was like, "All right, you too." Just a
Baseball,
funny episode.
baseball is very hard to predict. Basketball, I think, is one of the more easier ones to predict. Um, just because you can kind of see it's a 7-game series as well. Baseball, it's like anything can happen, and I respect your answer. So if you're like, when someone asks me, do you think this team's gonna win it? I always respond like, if you're giving me this team in the field, I'm probably gonna take the field in baseball just because of the likelihood.
Ah,
Now, in basketball, we saw this last year. Since the playoffs started, I said Celtics are gonna win. Like I didn't care about anybody else. I was like, Celtics are gonna
that's
win
true. You did
because
say that.
again,
I'll have to give you your props for that.
I watch because we watched basketball, especially this last year when I was gambling a little bit more. I was watching these games more thoroughly. I watched so
When I was
many
gambling a little more.
when I watched so many damn 76ers Charlotte Hornet games.
Oh, I didn't watch them. When Joel Embiid
Complete
went down, I said, "Ain't no
trash.
need for me to watch them."
When I had money on it, I was like, well, we'll make it something fun. And I'd watch it. I watched Detroit Pistons games. And guess what? I don't think it's Monty's fault.
I told you it wasn't Monty's fault. I
Yeah.
told you what I told you. I get it. His rotation. I argue with Faustino about this. His rotations could have been better. I agree with you, but it wasn't like he walked into a situation where he had a like he didn't walk into the Boston situation. He didn't walk into
Ferrari?
a
He didn't get a
yeah.
Ferrari?
He didn't walk. He didn't walk into a KD, Kyrie, and Devin Booker situation. He was gone from that. You know what I mean? He didn't walk into a situation where it's like, we are ready to win. We got mature vets, guys in their prime. Let's do it. He walked into a situation where he battling with these young men about being young men. He's got to try and get them in line, how to be pros. You pulling guys from different areas. Everybody making fun of Monty for this whole Cade Killingham thing and his daughter dating him or whatever else. It was a lot more stuff that went into that season. And I'm like, Detroit shouldn't have fired him. They should have said, what can we do to help you this coming next season? How do we turn this around? Because they've been doing some stuff this offseason,
Yep.
but who they coach?
I
I
don't
don't even know who
actually
they
know.
coach is.
I
I don't know either. That's what I'm saying.
Actually, I'm looking it up right now because I don't know who their coach is. Oh, JB Bickerstaff. JB's
You gonna get
there.
another? You got the same dude. You just went got a younger Monty. That don't make no sense. Detroit.
Is he
He's a
younger?
defensive Monty. Yeah, JB Bickerstaff is younger.
No way. No way. Monty Williams age. There's no way he's. Oh, I spelled Monty wrong.
Monty, or is he a
I put
Tey?
I put I put Money Williams.
Money Williams, baby. That's what they call him in these streets. He got
No,
that
he
bag.
is not younger. Oh
He's
no
not.
no. Yes, he is younger. He's like 6 or 7 years old younger.
Yeah.
Williams is older than JB Bickerstaff. Um,
You know
also
why, Cam? You know why you thought that though?
why? Because
Because
Monty's
black
got.
don't crack.
Well, they're
Black
both
don't crack,
black,
baby.
dude. They're both
But they don't crack.
black.
Black don't crack. You know what I mean? He'd be like
They're both
108 and he still
black.
look 52. You know what I mean? Black don't crack, baby.
Er,
Monty with the bald head with the nice little salty beard. You'd be like, Monty got to be at least like 60, 80. And you'd be like, nah, Monty only 52. Black don't crack. Or I should say he looked younger. I should say he's 52. He probably looked 42. JB Bickerstaff, you like, oh, JB, what, 40 something? Probably look like 36. You know what I mean? Black don't crack, baby. It's just what it is. Young and useful.
That's not it at all. But
That
okay.
is it. That is it.
That is not it at
You
all.
thought they age. You thought they was around the same age. Ain't no way they was the same age. Black people can tell how old we really are together. White people can't. You be like, how old are you? I still getting down. I'm 37. And dude's like, oh man, how old are you? Like 28? I beg your pardon? I ain't been 28 in a minute.
No one called you 28.
Yeah,
Nobody called you
yes,
28.
I have been at the gym. I'm not even playing with you. I'm not even people. When I go do stuff, sometimes like people will think I'm younger. Like I've been in the gym and someone's mistaking me for a student. Now I got a beard right now. You can tell my gray hairs and everything. And so I'm like, huh? And they're like, oh, like, are you a student here? What are you studying? What are you? I'm pretty sure I don't look like no student. I'm pretty sure I look like I got kids and a wife and everything else. But what can I say? Black don't crack, baby. I know you ain't heard it. It just don't. We just don't do it like that.
I heard it.
Yeah, we just don't do it like that. Go ahead and finish what you got to say.
Still,
I'm just saying it's okay, Cam.
I think for this
that
comparison,
smooth skin, that moisturization, drinking water.
This comparison has nothing to do with that.
It got you. It got you, Cam.
No, this comparison has nothing to do with that at all. I just
you're talking about hockey. I'm talking about their age. You thought they were around the same age. Ain't no way. Ain't no way they're around the same age.
I still, yeah, they're only 6 years apart, dude. It's not like they're
apart is a big difference. That is
it's not a big difference, Irv.
That's
when you get over
30
high
school, 4 years of college. That's a big
no,
difference,
you get
once
you get a 30.
You want to clump?
You get 30 up.
That,
6 years is not a big
sir,
difference.
no, sir.
Get 30 up. You're still college.
Please go ahead and roll through your
college
baseball.
And high school is big, but you're talking about when you're 30 plus.
High
6
school
years
to
not
college
that
is
big.
big. Monty was already in college. This man was barely hitting high school, if that. He was in what, seven,
one was
grade.
30. If one was 30, the other was 36. That's not much of a difference.
Tripping. You're done.
Tripping.
You're cooked. You're cooked. Go. You're cooked. You trying to group something together? You can't even group together yourself. All you doing is running over your own feet.
That's not a big age difference. That's not a big age difference. If it was 10 plus,
that's a big age difference in kids. Big age difference in lifestyle. That's a huge difference.
All the way up to about 30. Big age difference. Once you're 30, not a big age difference.
Cooked. It's a huge difference. Maturity-wise, life experience.
Until the age of 30.
Once
you're the age of 30, no.
You're done.
30,
you're
36,
done.
no.
You're done.
Like 40, 46, same thing.
You're done, bro.
40,
you're absolutely
46,
done.
50, 56, same thing.
You could be, there's a difference between a 20-year-old and a 26-year-old.
Yes.
There's a huge difference
between a 20-year-old. Do you not hear what I said? I said up to the age of 30.
I do hear what you're saying. I'm saying 30, it is a big
36,
difference.
Not different.
There's a huge difference. Huge difference.
30, 36?
You still consider, first of all, you still consider athletes in their prime, 30, 31, 32. You consider them washed by 34,
That's
35,
athletes,
36.
Not coaching. Not not looks.
It's not. We're talking about age. We're talking about age, and we're talking about age, like just age in general.
30,
we're talking about age
36,
in general.
Not that big of a difference.
That's a huge difference.
Now,
that's
after 30,
even a huge difference in coaching experience.
You went before 30.
You're
going before 30. I would agree with you before 30. After
36 is a big difference within coaching ages and a big difference within experience and what kind of coaching experience you have. A 30-year-old might not have been a head coach. Well, maybe nowadays it's cheaper, but back then a 30-year-old would not have been a head coach. You're closer to being a 36, and the experience you have getting to 36 as a coach would have got you a head coaching job. It's a huge difference. 6 years is a huge difference. I'll give you 2 years. I would even give you 3. I'm not giving you 4, 5, 6. That's a huge difference. Experience and everything else, life experience, professional experience, huge difference. Huge. Go on with the what was it?
Brad
Baseball
Stevens
topic.
won his
Wrap
first one at the age of 33 with Butler.
Brad Stevens, let's be real. Brad Stevens, Bill Belichick, some of those are different mindsets. Also, he was at a smaller school in Butler. He ain't get no Duke job. He had to build it from the ground up. We only heard one time of him really getting it from the ground up, right, with Gordon Hayward. Name another player that was associated with him that went to the league from that Butler team.
Oh, I don't know anybody.
There you go. Move on.
But they won.
Move on.
And he was 33.
Go ahead and move to the left.
I'm just saying,
go ahead and take 2 steps. Finish what you got to say. You're not winning this one. You're not walking in the door.
I did win this one. I'm not backing down from that because I don't agree.
You don't pass go. You do not collect $200. You're done.
There's not that big.
You're done, sir. You're done. Somebody get the Monopoly guy with the. Is it bifocal?
Well, I think
it's a bifocal, right? Mr. Peanut and him have a bifocal. Somebody go get the bifocal guy. Send him to jail.
The Peanut guy has bifocal. Monopoly Man does not. A lot of people don't know that. Monopoly
Oh,
Man
Monopoly
does
done
not.
had it. They
No,
only
it's a
carry
it's
this
a
what, that
what's
little
it called?
golden? It's
It's
a
a
watch?
no. Monopoly person does not have it. Everybody thinks he has the monocle, but he does not. Look it up. It's
I'm
a
gonna look it up
what's
right
it
now.
called?
You finish what you saying. I'm gonna look it up.
What's the word called where you think something happens, where you think somebody happens, but it's a Mandela effect, I think. I believe it's called Mandela effect, where you think something happens, but they don't. Anywho,
Images.
basically, baseball, to sum it up, baseball is more statistically valued than any other sport
You're
in my opinion.
correct. He does not have it.
Yeah, just like the age thing too. Anywho,
Uh-huh. No, the age thing is real. You just ain't you just don't want to admit to being in a situation where that is not clarification for you. I ain't gonna say you wrong, but say clarification. You see how I use that? Because I could have said wrong, but I said clarification. It's a difference. Just like it's a 6-year difference in
all right,
them, and it's a
let's go.
6-year difference in life experience. It's a 6-year difference.
He looks the same. They look the same, and it has nothing to do with them being black this time.
First of all, they don't look the same. Thank you very much. JB is a little bit
Yeah,
heavier.
okay,
And
but
Monty is not. Thank you for proving
the
my point
age
again.
looks the
And
same.
age, they
They look
don't.
the same
They
age.
look younger because black don't crack. Once
They're
again,
both black. This doesn't work that way.
black doesn't crack relates to age. It means they look younger, but they're older. So black skin does not crack. Where
They
white
both,
people or
yes,
other
they both
minorities
look
or other
younger.
descent look old and they're young.
Okay,
That's why I say black
but
don't crack
even
because
if
they
they
look
both look,
younger, but they're older.
but even if they both look younger, therefore, I still thought Monty was younger. That has nothing to
Because
do with
black
him
don't
being black.
crack.
Don't crack.
Black, what are you literally? It has everything. The meaning of black don't crack means you look younger. Me and Janae talk about this all the time
Yes,
because she's
but
like,
Irv, they're
when I
both
get
black.
old and you get old, and I'm older than her by like a year or some change, and I look younger. That's what I'm saying. They look
What color is
younger.
Janae? What color is Janae?
Janae is a Caucasian Norwegian
Okay,
Elsa.
white.
So she,
She's white. That
yeah.
doesn't apply to two. We're comparing two black men that this analogy applies for.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Therefore,
saying. I'm saying you're saying they're like, oh yeah, he looks younger, and I'm like, but you're like, no,
but then you
he
said
should be this
black
age.
don't
I'm like,
crack, but they're both
black
black,
don't
so they're both.
they don't crack.
Let's
This
go
I'm
on.
saying they look younger. They're older gentlemen who look younger. Go
Yes,
ahead.
they both look younger. I
Let's go.
still
Let's go
thought
to the
Monty.
NFL. Let's
I
just go to
thought
the
Monty
NFL.
was still younger.
You thought Monty was. Go to the next topic. Go to the next one. NFL. Let's go to the NFL. Let's talk about the Hard Knocks with the Giants first episode. Were you able to watch it?
I did not. I don't watch any of the Hard Knocks, but I saw a lot of clips of
Okay.
like them talk about Shaquan, and I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that's what
So
we're gonna be talking about.
yes. So I wanted to actually get your input on it because if you watched enough of those, I don't know if you call them highlighter clips or what you would call it. Because I watched the episode. I like Joe Shula or Shu. Is it Shu? It's H-O. It's H.
Joe Shula. Shula is a.
Sh- no, it's Joe. This is the GM for the Giants. I think it's like Shoen or Sohen. Shohen.
Joe Shohan. Yeah.
There you go. Shohen. So okay, I like him. I think his take on the Giants and what they need, and maybe this was before he got there with the whole Danny Dime situation and them giving him this big contract for 40. Like, what did he see as a GM in this quarterback to say he deserves to get a first round receiver? We've been saying they need a receiver for a while, but to get a receiver in the first round to make this a quarterback led team instead of giving a little bit more of a balance to what they had, like just getting a better offensive line.
He started in 2022, and I'm pretty sure he's the one that gave Daniel Jones the contract.
That is flabbergasting to me that like a guy that smart who went and got a guy they consider their quarterback wouldn't have, they already had the running back, wouldn't have just said, let's get a better offensive line, period. Like we might have good tight ends. We might have good receivers. Like we don't need to have just crazy standout because if we protect Daniel, we think he can be a guy who can get us there without having just crazy talent at the wide receiver spot. It's almost like he's working backwards. You know what I mean? Because he's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're not gonna re-sign Saquon. We're gonna take that money and get two backs or however many running backs are available. And you're like, okay, I can kind of see where you're trying to get there. Then the guy asks a question, well, what is our offensive identity going to be without Saquon? And he's like, well, we're going to get Danny, hopefully we get that receiver we want, and then we're going to have to fix the offensive line. why wouldn't you fix the offensive line first? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can get skilled players and be good enough skilled wise to like do something, but you can't find a bunch of great offensive line at the same time. That people ain't just letting them go out the door like that. So to me, I was like, this. It almost feels like does he understands what to do, but he's just like I'm gonna work backwards. Like I'm trying to give the guy credit and not be like a jerk and be like, what the fuck are you doing? That sounds dumb, dog. Like give me your thoughts on what you heard about this because I'm trying to be like cool with it, but I can't. Like
Okay.
I don't think. Go ahead.
So this situation, I think they already gave Daniel Jones the money that it has like it's too late. You went they did that offer. This yeah, it's repercussions of that offer. So they're
Okay.
looking at okay, what is Jaquan gonna go out there and get on the market? Is he gonna be a $9 million player? Is he this? Is he that? And that's what they're comparing contrasting to because they're like, okay, well, uh, like we don't want to overpay for something first, and then all of a sudden he's injured. You know what I mean? And I like the thought process of what they're going through, but
Mm.
I mean, I think that it's a like because they made that mistake of paying Shaquan or paying Danny Jones that money, uh it kind of ruined their way they have to handle, it ruined how they have to handle the situation with Shaquan. And
Saquon.
yeah, Saquon. I keep saying Shaquan like Shaq for some reason, and I keep
Shaquan. He's Shaq, the Shaq
yeah.
of running
And to
backs.
be honest, I kept spelling it wrong too. But it's one of those where running backs aren't that popular and they always get injured and they're not as
But
protected. So they
it's
thought
so weird.
they thought he's only gonna be getting what nine million on the market, and he actually went out and I think he got 11 million.
Yeah, from Philly.
Yeah, you got 11 million a year or something like that,
Which
or 12 million a year with the signing bonus of 11 million.
mhm.
Um, so in 3 years too, and I believe they have an opt out after 2026. So I understand the process. Like it's hard to give running backs, and I get that they're really even the really really good ones a bunch of money now, just because it has become where you don't teams aren't running the ball as much. Teams are just and they're realizing like once that running back goes down, we can easily put somebody else in the place that can get that same yardage. They're not as there's no standout big time like the running back standouts isn't like the quarterback standouts. You know what I mean? The quarterback standouts you're like, wow, this person's a big difference. The running back you're like, yeah, it's a difference, but it's not like it's we can replace that. We can give or take that
Ah,
and put
that's
our
so
money
hard
somewhere
for me
else.
to
So,
see, man. That's very hard for me to see because, like, all right, let me just lay my chips on the line. Stop trying to be politically correct. I think that was dumb as hell to give Danny Jones $40 million
oh
and
yeah,
give him that 84. I think that was stupid. I think because of what he saw, which was nothing. Danny Jones never produced a game where you're like, oh, this guy is just he had dynamic plays, but never a dynamic game. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Never had a game where you're just like, my God, if he can get a stable offensive line. And they blamed a lot of their issues on the offensive line, but you have to think Saquon. You keep saying everyone keeps saying, oh, he kept getting hurt. He kept getting hurt. Kept getting hurt behind a bad offensive line.
Oh,
He wasn't
absolutely.
getting, and you needed him to get you those yardage. You needed him for an offensive punch. It's not like you said we're gonna get Saquon and go get another running back, so we got like a dual threat running back because we can like Danny's not ready. You said Saquon carry the load. He did. He carried everything from the screen game to pass catching to even run blocking to running in between the tackles, outside of the tackles. You burned him out. And now you want to say, well, I don't know, his value is there when his value is clearly there. And this is an organization not trying to do right by a player that they've burned out. And I get, okay, we know we can get another running back, but you already admitted that O line was doo doo. So if this dude is getting 1,000 yards and some, leading the league for a quick second in rushing or touchdowns, just for a quick second, because you know that jumps week to week. Cam, we all know that the best offensive
Yeah.
line that has a good running back or a great running back will start to shine after a while. Um, that just proved the point. Like, what are you doing as the GM? Because if anything, you should have said, "Hey, we got Saquon. Let's if we're gonna get Danny, we got to trick this whole offensive line out. We got to do this whole offensive line over again. It don't matter. We got to make moves. Whether we got to take away from the receivers, take away from the tight ends, we can get pretty good skill position around them. But we've got to build this offensive line first. That way, both of our assets are protected." And for
I
him to say something of that nature, like, "Oh, well, we got to get this offense, like, hopefully we get a receiver, then we'll flip it and get this offensive line." You're damn sure not doing a good job of getting offensive line. I'm not trying to be rude, but like, you're not, whether it's the scheme of Brian Debo or it is the guy who's out there looking at offensive line, somebody got to get fired
yeah.
because your assets is getting his ass toe up. So it's like, you aren't handling the issue first. You're trying to get these skill players, and all you're doing, you got a good running back who can lead the league in rushing with a decent offensive line. You got a quarterback that you potentially think can be a guy. But even in that conversation, the man talks about, well, if we got to pivot from Danny, we got to pivot from Danny. I would fire your ass. If I was that guy in charge and I heard you say that, and I said you gave Daniel 40 million, you got rid of Saquon. We still ain't did nothing with the offensive line. And we went ahead and we got this number one receiver, and we need to do some more stuff. I would be like, you know what? I'm not I'm not gonna extend your contract, bro. You done after this year. Go
So
ahead, Cam.
the thing that I was looking at is also is like at the time, I think they made a big mistake at the time because they were relying on Shaquan and not Danny as much. And Danny, like you could tell he wasn't the future. And they should have paid. I think we all agreed they should pay Shaquan. But last year, if you know, last year when Danny goes down and you're having like, remember they're having like they were not in any playoff contention whatsoever. They weren't playing well. Everything like everything's not working right. Then why aren't you trying to trade Shaquan at before the trade deadline? That's what I'm not understanding. Is like you just let a player of that caliber just walk and you didn't get anything back for him. So you just let him walk in free agency and you didn't get anything back for him. You didn't get a fourth round pick. You didn't get a third round pick. You didn't do anything. He just went. The other thing is the next CBA they have, the CBA agreement that they have, they need to restructure how uh running backs running backs are contracts are for the rookie contracts. It doesn't need to be this 4-year stuff because running backs are used and abused in college and they're used and abused in the NFL. And their careers usually like good running backs after the age of 28, they don't usually get that second big huge contract.
Yep.
So when they come out of college, I think they need to be it should be a 2 to 3 year contract, not 3 to 4. It should be two to
Agreed.
three and on the two side because when they come out of college, they're 23, 24 usually, right? Because they usually redshirted a year on
Maybe.
at like maybe sometimes a little bit younger, but usually around there. So you give them 2 years, they're 25, 26, then they can get another 4 years. And by the time they're 30, they're in their kind of their downfall of their career. Therefore, you can't offer them a huge contract again. At least they can get that second big contract before their downfall. Right now, they're offered that second big contract at their like downfall of their career. Nobody's paying it for them, and they've already been used and abused. So that's what we're seeing with Shaquan. And I'm trying to think of other running backs right now, but I'm drawing a blank. But like
Jacob,
Josh Jacobs is another one
Josh
that
Jacobs. Who else was the other one? Uh,
Mixon I think is going through that a little bit because he got
Joe Mixon.
traded. Yeah.
Yep, Joe Mixon went through it. There's Ezekiel Elliott, who obviously he just went back to
Yeah.
the Cowboys, which is very awkward. I don't know how that's gonna that's gonna play out, but he went there. Yeah, guys are being these fantastic backs for the first, like you said, first 2-3 years of their career, and then right after that, we're like, okay, cool. I'm off this rookie deal. Let's give me this extension. Like, let's shortchange you. Let's
Yeah.
shortchange you a lot. So
It's
I
gonna
agree
be
with you. They need to do 1 or 2 year deals at max. And then after that 2 year deal, I want my money up front now. I
it's gonna
want
be
all my money.
interesting, especially this next one. So next year we have James Conner who's gonna be a free agent, but he's over that age. He's at 30. Aaron Jones,
Yeah.
30. So you're looking at
Yep.
the contracts where you're looking at people like that are 25, 26, 27. So Justice Hill, 27. Like AJ
He
Dillon,
ain't get
27. You know what I mean?
he ain't
But
getting it either.
so they're offered their second contract, like J.K. Dobbins, their second contract when they're over this, like that next peak where they're kind of over the hill almost at the age of 26, 27. They're already beat up. They need to be getting in the first 2 years at the age of, in my opinion, 25, 26.
You're right. I agree with that. I do not disagree. Like if you come out, if you're able to play as a freshman, you come out, let's just say you hit the market, you 22, you're 20, 21, 22. You need a 2-year deal. Because by the time you're 20, 23, 24, you already know if they're going to trade you. You already know if you get negotiations. You already know what's going on, but you still got a peak. You still got enough of your prime to get your money and get your bag and go to another team. I think you're completely right. The CBA for the NFL, the players got to come together, especially the running backs, which they've talked a lot this past offseason, those particular guys about getting their money, getting their bread, and what that looks like. And you got to just go after it. Because, like, you think about it, Christian McCaffrey got all his money. I want to know who his agent is. Christian McCaffrey, his agent said, look, Christian ain't getting off the plane. Don't even send the plane. Christian ain't getting on it unless it's signed, sealed, and delivered. And got
And the
all
way
his
that,
money.
and he's perfect for the system he's in too, because not only
Yep.
do they run the ball, but you see him receiving the ball. So he has the aspect. Not only
Yep.
can he bring that aspect to the game, which a lot of running backs, like I'm not saying they struggle in, but they're not as efficient in. So there's
Pass
some
catch,
out
yeah.
there that are good. I think a Joe Mixon can do that, but he's also in a system that fits that as well.
I don't think Joe
That's
Mixon's
what it is.
a great passing back. I think he's okay, but I think to me, he has iffy hands. I wouldn't put him in that role too much to be a pass catcher. Um, I do want to say this about Christian McCaffrey, though. Do you think he's a good run blocker?
No, but they're not running anymore. And
Oh, not run
why
blocker, pass blocker,
pass
pass
blocker?
blocker. I said the wrong one. Sorry. He's a good
Or
pass blocker. I ain't trying to have him be no fullback. That was
he
my
he
foul.
he not pass blocking. He goes
That's what
out
I
for
mean.
he goes out for the passes.
That's what I mean, though. Because like if
You-
he could pass block a little bit, imagine the fake screens that could set up on him.
No, no, no.
Because
Yeah, I
Ray
mean, yeah,
Rice used to get all Ray Rice used to murder people in the game
but
when he was a pass protection mode, and then they would sneak him out on screens because he would just destroy people.
well, now you're understanding the importance of a tight end that can do that. Now you're understanding the importance more of George Kittle's, where they're like, hey, we have Christian McCaffrey that's going to go out and get these passes, but we need to have somebody extra in the box. And that's where that George Kittle's is coming in, where George Kittle is
That helps, but
agree.
that doesn't in inside blitzes. Like you got to get a running back to step up in there because the shortest path to a quarterback
Slide
ain't
on
through the
over.
sides. You know what I mean?
Can
That's hard, Cam.
can you
Cam,
slide
that's
on over
way
or no?
hard. No, bro. Like you got to line him up in the backfield as a fullback to get that kind of action because the biggest thing is everyone likes to, blitzing from the side is cool, but the
Yeah.
quickest lane is the A gap. So when that A gap hit, a tight end ain't finna shove everybody down. You know how hard that is for a tight end to turn, recognize that, push the tackle down. Tackle got to push the guard, and then the guard got to push the center to get there. That's got to be a running back. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Christian McCaffrey is great. I ain't got nothing against the dude. But I was just asking you, like, you think because Zeke Elliott, murdering folk. Ray
I,
Rice, murdering folk. It's a couple running backs out there. You don't want to get Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon to throw you out the club. You got to get out the club with Joe.
I'm trying to recall a time where I've seen him pass block and I can't.
That's what I mean. Like he got all that money, and it's a little bit of his game that's missing. But I get it. Yards after contact, yards per catch. That he touchdown machine.
As long
So
as you
you
have
got
that
to sacrifice.
Trent Williams, just field to that side, you'd be good.
Yeah, ain't nobody messing with that one. But nah, I agree with you about the contract situation. The Giants just seem so disorganized. Even more watching that one episode, I'm like, I watched that one episode. I'm like, bro, like y'all finna be doo-doo. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
doo-doo.
Like I said, that wide receiver that played with Jaden Daniels out of
Napers,
LSU, Napers,
Napers.
got they had that
Yeah.
they had that deal. They made that deal like we'll put ten
Give me
thousand
my money
dollars on
back.
who's gonna be rookie MVP. Goes to one practice with the Giants. Goes, yeah, we're pulling out of that. We're not doing that bet any longer. One practice.
But
After one
HR,
practice,
that
the
he
Giants, he
said
goes,
HR,
nah,
he
this
called
ain't
him and
it.
said HR said they heard about the bet. We can't do it because I could lose. I could get fined. HR said I can't do it, Jaden. We got all right, man. Talk to you later. Have a good season.
Yep.
You ready to go
I
to
know, man.
NBA?
Yep. Let's go.
All right. So let's talk offseason trades, free agent signings, and contract extensions. So Cam, give me some of the more notable ones that you picked up on because they're happening every day. It seems like every day somebody is signing everywhere else but the Lakers. Go ahead.
I mean, I think uh honestly, we saw a couple happen. A lot of people messaged me when OG first was leaving the Knicks because he wasn't resign didn't resign with them right away, and I'm like, y'all know he's gonna sign back there. Like I had a good feeling he was gonna sign back there. I understood why he opted out. He wanted more money. And people
Yeah.
were like, oh, he's opted out. What team he's gonna go to? And people were like, Sixers. I go, that's an option, but I really think he's going back to the Knicks. They just have to offer him more money. He doesn't want to stick with that contract where he's like, nah, I'm not gonna be
He ain't
good as
going to the Sixers. He ain't going
um
back to Nick Nurse. He ain't going back to Nick Nurse.
yeah.
He ain't going back.
So Harkenstein, I saw that pickup. I think that was a great pickup for OKC. That way you don't have Chet having to take that beating in the middle. I mean,
Bro, that
you
makes
know,
them so much more dangerous if they can move Chet to the 4, J-Dub to the 3, and then rotate between that two guard spot. Everybody keeps saying Alex Caruso is going to start. I don't see him being a starter.
even if he doesn't start, like think about it,
I just
you got rid of a problem person that didn't want to come off the bench, who was a liability at the 3-point land. His defense
I,
wasn't as good.
I just want to tell
Got
you,
rid
I
of
told
his
you he was getting
ass.
traded. I
Yeah,
told you he was getting traded
you
way
did.
before this all happened. As soon as that first round of the playoffs kicked off and I saw him play against the Pels, I said, he gone. Everybody was like, "Oh no, they're gonna keep Josh Giddey." I said, "Josh Giddey don't shoot the three like that." And Shea is not finna tell Josh, "Go ahead and do it." Nah, this is my team, big dog. You gonna sit in that corner and you gonna shoot that three, or when we get in this locker room, you gonna get your ass whooped. That's what's gonna happen. That's what he probably told him.
Yeah, and so I respect the Harkenstein's signing of OKC. I was really hoping he was going to run it back with the Knicks because the Knicks look like a fun team to watch, but they could not offer him nearly enough after that trade for was it Mikal Bridges? So
Yeah, yep.
uh,
And that
but
was good. Hey, good move by the Knicks on that one. Go ahead, finish your take. That was
yeah, I mean I didn't know James Harden re-signed back with the Clippers until today or
he
two
had no
days ago.
choice.
I was like looking at it, and then I saw how much they signed him for, and I went, "Oh my goodness!"
It's a steal. It's a steal.
For
It's a
who?
steal for them.
The
Because James
Clippers or
wanted more money
James?
than that for them, for the Clippers. James wanted more money than that. We know James wanted more
But
money
do you
than
think
that.
he would have got more money on the market?
That's what I'm saying. No. I'm saying I don't
I
I think
think James
everything
stole.
that
I think James stole from them.
I don't think James stole from I think James got exactly what he could have got with them. He gets a chance to be at home back in the California area. Um, I don't think teams were looking at James like that because when you looked at him play with the Clippers and he had Kawhi and PG, he still wasn't. You know what I mean? He wasn't
Yeah.
lighting it up. He was doing well. Don't get me wrong. Help that team get to the playoffs, number 4 in the seating. But he wasn't James like that. He wasn't Big James like that. Big beard. He
Let's
was
talk.
just a good mid-tier player or second-tier player now.
Let's talk about the. Let's talk about really quick the KCP to the Magic. I don't know why I struggled saying that, but KCP to the Magic.
I
What do you
think that's a
think?
great move. I think great move. I think they got exactly what they wanted, a three-point shooter, defender at that two-guard spot. They can still allow for guys like Pablo Banchero, Mo or not Mo, I'm sorry, Franz Wagner to do their
Mhm.
thing as young guys. They got a veteran who's won 2 rings, great pickup. Don't and I think the point guard spot with that rotation, I don't know if it'll be Markel
It'll be
Spo. I
Suggs.
don't know.
It'll be
I don't know if
Suggs.
Suggs because he's a good defensive guard.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's a great move, and I think their coach is now going to be under the hot seat because they picked up KCP. Now it is time to win. We got you what you considered a piece. We resigned basically everybody from Jonathan Isaac, who took a pay cut in a sense. Mo Wagner, the brother, who took a pay cut. I think that it's time for that Magic team to make some real noise, get into the playoffs, and go deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, Denver didn't replace him at all. They didn't pick up anybody this free agency. They just let him walk, and now they lost asset to their championship team. We'll see how that affects them.
Either
The,
Christian Brauner or what's my man's name? Paul Watson. They're
yeah,
gonna rotate at them spots. It's gonna be some
yeah.
rotations. It's just gonna be some
Uh,
heavy rotation.
we saw Clay go to Dallas, and kind of curious how that's gonna work.
Jason Kidd, how you gonna cover this up defensively? I just gotta know, Jason. I gotta know. It's a lot going on with that dog. I gotta know how Jason gonna do it because Clay is still a decent defender, but he ain't the young defender he used to be. You know what I mean, Cam? He ain't that move your feet like that. Now, them shots can fall, but are you planning on just trying to beat a team full offensively? And is Luka going to commit to the defensive end this summer, getting in that kind of shape, working with the right guys to be able to control his body a little bit more um, and be a good defender, if not a great defender, because they need him. He got picked on in the playoffs, and that's not going away now. Regular season, that's going to happen. Everybody's going to come in, whether you're healthy or not.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I think they got worse defensively and they got tiny bit better offensively. What about you?
I think I like Clay, but I don't I don't particularly like the move. I thought like if they would have got KCP, I thought that would have been a better fit. But they got Clay. Everybody said they're gonna get Clay. I think it's a big name they wanted to bring in. Is it the right fit? I don't know because that defensive struggle, like who's playing perimeter D? Who's gonna
And
play
Derrick Jones
perimeter D?
Jr., he's a Clipper now. He's
Yeah.
with the Clippers now.
So it'll be interesting. I think honestly, who's going under the radar because they lost Clay. I think Golden State Warriors kind of. If you look at who they picked up this offseason,
Buddy
I think
Hield,
Buddy Hield. They picked up Ryan Anderson. We know
Kyle
he
Anderson.
Kyle Anderson from Memphis who got into it with Rudy. So you know he brings that
Or you mean
mentality too.
from the Timberwolves, not
Yeah.
Memphis.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, from
from
Minnesota.
Timberwolves, and he gets
He
right.
did play for minute. He got a big bag from Memphis. That's why you remember him because remember Kyle got that big bag from San Antonio
Yeah, they moved
or
off
to go
of
to Memphis.
the big contract of Chris Paul as well, but they also brought in D'Anthony Melton
Yep,
as
they're
well.
they're
So
getting athletic. They're getting a lot more athletic.
they're getting young players that, and also we all know Buddy can shoot 3-pointers. So why they lost Clay, they brought in
Oh,
Buddy. Now it's kind of, can this team come together chemistry wise?
can Buddy play a
Watch.
significantly better portion of defense than he did at any other place? Or if your starter is going to be Jonathan Kaminga, can him and Draymond or whoever they get the five can make up for it? Because
Yeah.
Kaminga's the one that I worry about now. Not Buddy gonna shoot threes. He's not gonna be a great defender, but he gonna shoot threes. Kaminga gotta be Andre. He gotta be Iguodala. He gotta get rebounds. He gotta facilitate. He gotta be
Well, we
athletic.
saw it
He
a little
gotta
bit
block
last year.
shots.
We saw a
He
little bit
gotta
last
he
year.
gotta do that on another level. He
So
got to find
Draymond,
that level.
they're gonna move Dre to the 5. He's gonna move to, he'll be playing the 4. Buddy will play the 2. Then they'll have Kyle Anderson playing the 3, and then you have Steph playing the 1. And I'm
Kyle
looking
can't
at it, and
shoot though.
I'm like, what?
Kyle can't shoot like that. He don't shoot
Kyle
threes like
shoot?
that.
Kyle
Kyle
shoot?
can shoot. He doesn't shoot threes like Kyle Anderson does not shoot threes like that. He's a good
No,
defender. I can
no.
see Dre's and him being like 4 and 5, but Kyle can't shoot like that. I can see Kyle coming off the bench more than I can see Kyle being in that starting lineup because you want that floor to open up for Kaminga to be athletic. So I can see him and Buddy and then
Well, they
Kaminga,
still have
Dre, somebody.
Wiggins. They still have Wiggins they can work with, or they're trying to get rid of him too.
They were trying to get rid of him last time I checked because like I like Chris Paul to the Spurs. That's good for young boy. That's a get a guy in his spot, dude. We talk about the
Yeah.
dying point guard. That's a dying point guard going to a team that got a lot of young talent. Hey, young boy, get over here. Hey, Wimby, I'm gonna kick it to him, but you get in your spot. He's gonna kick it to you. That's gonna be great for the Spurs. I think that's great for the Spurs. But for them, Golden State, give me your 5 starters. Give me your 5 starters right now, just real quick.
Well, I have to admit, I forgot they still had Wiggins. So I'd have to put Wiggins. I
I
think you're right. I think I got to move Kyle out now and put Wiggins in there.
I thought Wiggins is leaving. I think they're gonna get rid of Wiggins to get more assets because they, like you said, they got guys on some cheaper contracts. Wiggins has a pretty nice contract. You got Dre and Steph still with bigger contracts. I think Wiggins is the next one to get up out of there. And I don't think they mean it disrespectfully. They're just trying to get younger and get picks again so they can kind of get this thing rebuilt. Because I don't know how long Steph got.
After this offseason, I've decided that I'm an OKC fan. I'm cheering for OKC, man. Come on. Get Shea that MVP, get Shea that vinyl, get it, give him that championship. I'm on the Shea wagon now.
I hope he get it. I
Or
appreciate
Shy.
him.
My bad. I
I,
keep saying Shea is Shy.
I need the Lakers to give me just one good run. I think it's funny
We're
right
done.
now.
We're done. Shy.
I I need one good run. Just one good run. Like I
Just
mean,
shot.
losing like the second round or third round, but like I mean, lose winning some games. Like make me feel like we was gonna, you know what I mean? Don't get whooped on like by the Nuggets again. Like damn, just get whooped on.
It's done. We have big name players that don't do anything at this point. We're running it back with the same team. It looks like.
I actually like the team. Maybe this JJ Redick thing can be helpful, not just offensive, like not just defensively in a sense, because obviously he has to bring in some defensive coaches. It sounds like he having a hard time getting assistants, plain and simple. Like guys that are assistant coaches, kind of like you a new head coach, and I really don't want to take orders from somebody who ain't pay their dues. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not, but maybe he can get them unlocked offensively, like a D'Lo and stuff like that. I think Brian got to take a third seat. I think he just got to be a point guard, facilitate, average your 15, 20 point, 15, 16 points, get you 8, 9 rebounds, but get them 10, 11 assists per game. Get guys going, get D'Lo going, get Anthony Davis going. Like, don't worry about shooting. You already got all that shit with the, excuse me for my language, the scoring titles and all that. Get these dudes going. Get those young dudes moving. And then when we need it in the playoffs, you got your legs. But you got to stop with all this. I want to shoot 41% from 3 and shooting all these shots. I don't want to see all that no more.
Put your head down. You're freaking gigantic. And
go
to the paint.
Them knees
dribble.
and legs don't work like that no more. Them tire treads, it's getting low.
Then use your old man body. Get in there. Establish dominance.
Move him
and
to the
dish it
center
out.
position. Move him to the center position. That way he just got to post up and get to the box.
No, because I need him being a playmaker. He's always been a playmaker. That's how he is. He's always wanted a point guard to come in there and do that. Like, LeBron, you are that. You are that.
We're going to have to do a part 2 of this because we're running low on time. I think the last team I want to talk about, or last thing I want to kind of talk about right now, is the Knicks with Mikal Bridges, that Nova Knicks, they calling them, the Nova Knicks. Bro, Tibbs got to do better. If Tibbs can't get that team to the finals, and I mean the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Final, or not Western, but the championship, Tibbs got to go this year.
Tibbs needs to use his
team.
He needs to use his bench. He needs to use his bench. He has a bench now. He needs to use it.
Deep bench. A deep bench.
Don't grind a bunch of players. Your starting players, they should not be playing 40 minutes a game. Use your bench.
Do you agree with me? He's gone after this year if they don't get it done. He's got to be.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you. That's all I'm like, they got everything they need. He got to go.
And then you know who they'll bring in?
Who?
They'll bring in Doc Rivers because everybody brings in Doc.
Oh, they gonna be trash.
Everyone brings in Doc. Let's do it. One last ride with Doc.
No, take us out, Cam. I don't want to hear that. Take us out.
That's gonna do it for episode 154. Thank you for tuning in. You all have a great weekend. Make somebody smile. We'll catch you all next week. Bye.